Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. So, the greatest boy group of all time is making a comeback. Yes, I know that's a pretty big statement, but it's my opinion. Or is it? SHINee has finally returned as a full group for the first time in 2 years. The last album we got from them was the excellent Don't Call Me /Atlantis, IMO, the best LP to come out in 2021. I didn't start paying attention to them until after the fact, which technically makes this my first ever SHINee comeback. Now, coming off that massive critical and commercial success, coupled with their legendary stature, it's safe to say that expectations were high for this new record, entitled Hard. But is it really as groundbreaking and monumental as the name suggests? Will SHINee save the industry as I had hoped? Let's find out. But before we get to the review, make sure you subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Alright, without further ado, we go hard! Hard is the latest step in what I'd like to call the NCT-ification of SHINee. Or to be more precise, having the music adopt a lot of SM's more frustrating tendencies. It was evident with Don't Call Me being far more hip-hop oriented and rap-heavy than their previous singles, which isn't inherently problematic, but this time we've gone one step further, shedding much of the production elements that made DCM engaging, and worst of all, squandering SHINee's tremendous vocals with a lackluster centerpiece. Seriously, an anti-drop? Is this what they're worthy of? Even though the beat livens up in the second half of the chorus, the hook itself is just a non-starter. Do we really need SHINee of all people telling us how hard they are? Also, gotta love how Minho is just going ham on the choreo while performing one of the blandest refrains I've ever heard. I was shocked to learn that Kenzie was in charge of this song. I thought it sounded a lot more like a Dem Joints production, but either way, this is far from her best work. After all, this is the same Kenzie that gave us Forever One, and also produced many great songs for SHINee themselves. Apparently Taemin really pushed for Hard to be the title track. If that's true, then I must say we definitely do not share similar tastes. I do like the piano, it provides some nice texture to the instrumental, and I enjoyed that brief segment towards the end where they just go full HOT mode with the boom bap breakdown. However, apart from the pre-chorus and bridge, there's a noticeable lack of melody in the song, and frankly I don't really hear any SHINee in this product. Besides the instantly recognizable voices that help to elevate such subpar material, Hard sounds like it could have been written for anyone. Can't believe I'm having to rate a SHINee title track below 80, but this is quite the disappointment for a lead single. I mean, not really. Purportedly, this was the song that SM preferred for promotions, and while I do think Juice is the stronger track out of the two, it's not that much better, so it's kind of like picking your poison. Although I think the spitting and overall hip-hop vibe is more potent on this cut, backed by the boisterous high-octane production. It's pulled off without sacrificing momentum, and there's also some semblance of melody. Even though the hook is still quite sing-talky, it gives us a glimpse of SHINee's brilliant vocal blend and harkens back to the towering chorus of Don't Call Me. I definitely enjoyed this more, even though Hard was catchier. Alright, so we are steadily improving here. Still haven't quite knocked it out of the park yet, but 10 times offers a jazzy cooldown from the braggadocious bombast of the last two tracks. It's incredibly smooth, with the guys just gliding along the pleasant and funky R&B instrumental. I've seen people say that this song feels like a Jonghyun solo, which, I mean, it has its style written all over it, but if I'm being honest, I prefer the tracks that are more suited to Key. Fortunately, as we continue to approach the midpoint of the album, things start to take a turn for the better. Satellite is the record's most melodic moment so far, and we're treated to a nice salvo of vocals. The verses could have been tightened up more, but that chorus is the real highlight here. The arrangement is incredibly satisfying, and the extended hook just takes it to another level. Now this is more like it. 5 songs in, and their prowess has finally been unleashed. Like, this is the SHINee that we know and love, and have been missing for the past 2 years. Nothing beats a propulsive dance track with a full-throated melody at its core, and it actually comes quite close to matching the quality of, say, Code or I Really Want You from their last album. It was just so comforting to hear their impeccable vocal blend paired with an honest-to-goodness chorus, as it rains down on you in all of its electropop glory. Just plain and simply what they do best. There's even an Oh New high note in there for good measure. Sing this one loud in crowd pause.
I want to feel.
My initial reaction to The Feeling, since it was released before everything else, was, my god, is it great to have them back, to hear them perform again, especially Taemin. This song hits all the right notes for me. There's drum and bass, there's synth and house piano. It delivers a fizzy head rush with the breakneck electronics and a cathartic instrumental drop that sounds a lot like the one in On and Off's Complete, which is one of the greatest summer songs of all time. I could definitely do without the lull in the second verse. It lasted way longer than necessary, but at least it wasn't jarring. Looking past that, when this track flies, it truly soars. The vocals and the melody are amazing, obviously, but in conjunction with the brass and the percussion firing on all cylinders, it is just euphoric. For me, Identity, The Feeling, and Like It form a holy trinity of sorts on this album. What we like to see from them is some form of EDM with a palpable groove, and this song absolutely achieves that. It unfolds in a way that evokes the unbeatable view, slowly amping up the tension before hitting us with a zinger of a hook. In the second pre-chorus, a bit of guitar seeps into the mix, and hearing that I was like, don't be shy, like give it your all, come on. And fortunately it delivers on that promise, and even goes above and beyond in the outro to end on a resounding high note. Clocking in at just 2 minutes and 44 seconds, the whole thing is over in a flash. I only wish they would have given us a bit more of that sweet instrumental, but this is a standout B-side nonetheless. Speaking of sweet things, Sweet Misery in every way feels like it should have been the outro of this album, in that it's a marked step down from the more thrilling tracks that precede it, but it also doesn't devolve into a complete snooze fest. It welcomes the listener with some warm ambience, and while there's a bit of murk to wade through, eventually we reach a much more rousing arrangement in the drop, featuring the similarly wispy vocal layering that made Satellite such a pleasing listen. SHINee's 8th album concludes with 2 down-tempo tracks. Insomnia very much feels like it's befitted to Minho's style, what with the moody atmosphere that hangs over the entire song. He takes the lead on the intro, which, might I add, is reverb to high heaven. Now, you'll know that this kind of music is just not my cup of tea, so I could basically take it or leave it. The same can be said about the closer, Gravity, which, at that point, we've completely zoned out. We're just kind of floating in space. They're inoffensive, but don't grow into anything special. So, in summary, Hard is, for the most part, quintessential SHINee, bar the 2 hip-hop experiments at the beginning. It's definitely weaker than their last record. The title track was a letdown, but it has its fair share of highlights, even if they don't stack up to the ones on the previous album. There's still plenty of material to sink your teeth into. I mean, it is SHINee after all. If I had to graph this album in terms of quality, it would very much look like a typical story arc. We have a cluster of great B-sides in the middle that are bookended by some average tracks. I would have preferred less filler and also better sequencing, although we can most certainly look to an imminent repackage to shake things up, because that's just what SM does. In a perfect world, Hard and Juice wouldn't exist, 10 Times would be the opener, and the hypothetical EP would end with Sweet Misery. That is it. Let me know what you thought of this album. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe to the channel for more great content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.